Taren S. Welcome to the House of Witchcraft. Come on in. Let's brew some magic together. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the House of Witchcraft. So happy to see everybody that's been leaning in and so just appreciative of all the support. And of course, as you can see, as soon as I sat down, my kitty here, Chester the Cheeto, decided he was going to come join me for this chit chat, which I sort of thought was sort of interesting because I have notes on starting a relationship with a deity, an aspect, an entity, all right, a god and goddess. There's so many different ones we can have relationships with. Excuse me. So sorry about that one, y'all. And y'all know I don't edit very often because I can't figure those buttons out. And last time I tried doing an editing on in this video, I ended up just messing the whole darn video up. I had to reshoot it. All right? I know that's off the subject, but I thought y'all just need to know I really am a 16th century witch operating in the 21st century, and I'm blessed enough to have some millennial witches that are awful smart with all that stuff out there. So they've been helping me, and I've been taking a 2-year crash course on it. So now that we're off subject, let's get back on subject. Starting a relationship, all right? And do they pick me? Do I pick them? All sorts of questions here. Who do I pick? And it becomes almost overwhelming for new folks, okay? And I so get that. You know, I've sometimes even made the reference that sometimes you feel like you have to spin a wheel and pick a god and goddess. And that, oh, I need to have this. I need to have this altar or else I'm not doing it right. And y'all know how I feel about not doing it right, okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, if you're doing it from here, you're doing it right, okay? There ain't no such thing as that. It's when we start listening to other folks, that's when we run into that ain't doing it right thing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Done went and listened to somebody else when you know darn well what you were feeling inside. All right? So, first I want to give this one and say this video is dedicated to a beautiful young witch, Simply Lucy Ann. She was the one that sent me this question, asking a really beautiful little comment on how do I do it? You know, and you're absolutely right. Reading about it and actually doing it are just two different things, okay? And so, let's pick a god or a goddess. Y'all got any suggestions? I know we all want to go with the ones out there, the Hecate, okay, Inanna, Persephone, Diana, Brigit. Yeah, there's a whole list of it. It just goes on and on. I want you to not even worry about that. First thing I want you to do is think about the fact that divinity is divine feminine, divine masculine. All right? Yeah, that's it's all and it's everything and it's nothing and it's something. That's divinity, okay? It doesn't have a gender. It doesn't have that stuff because it just is. And I want you to spend a little time wrapping your head around that one. And go think about this one now. And maybe, you know, you may want to bring your thoughts into physical realm. Altars. I don't think y'all can see the very tippy top up there. I don't quite have the camera up high enough for it. But you've all seen pictures of the different altars that I set up, that the Cottage Witches Coven set up, that I have another coven that sits up, and that people send me. There's so many ways to set up your altar. But what I want you to do, find your little space. I want you to set up a representation, anything, all right, that is masculine. And then I want you to put on the other side or right beside or in front of or behind, however you're feeling about your altar, a representation of divine feminine. Okay? Now, these can be very simple. These can be you can have, a pretty carved piece of oak can be a very masculine representation. All right, a beautiful piece of willow, very feminine. All right, this isn't saying you gotta sit it all up and go out there. You're gonna do that later, okay? Right now we're getting into that. I got me an altar space. What the hell do I do with it? And I'm not sure if I know any of the god and goddesses, but I do want them to lean in on me. All right, so how am I going to get them to lean in? I'm going to start by setting up a space just to divinity. All right, and I'm going to put on my space a little bit of masculine, a little bit of feminine. Okay, and for some you may want more masculine or more feminine. Again, this is your altar. All right, pretty it up, make it the way you want it. Now get you a candle, any glass candle, pillar candle, tea light candle, whatever you have in your house is the candle that you need to use. Don't you go buy nothing. That's what I'm saying. All right, light that candle in your altar. I want you to sit there. I want you to go through what I refer to as the two pillars meditation. I want you to envision two big, beautiful pillars, beautiful pathway, and I want you to walk through that. And I want you to walk through those pillars, and let them reveal what is on the other side. All right? Start to take the journey to connecting to who's already leaning in around you. Okay? And you may decide that this is cool. I just want to do this. I don't really want to know any gods and goddesses. All right. Many of us, me included, we don't actually have a patron god or goddess. As I was talking earlier, my altars are set up to the divine feminine and the divine masculine that make up the universe. All right. I do work within aspects at times of the year. So yes, I do give honor and reverence to different gods, goddesses, and also to Loa as well. But these are within my personal, what I've been taught firsthand, all right? Especially when we start talking the conjuring community, it is firsthand knowledge. It's not book knowledge, it's community knowledge, it's generational knowledge. All right, and to be very careful with that. I know in the past I've said some stuff where I'm pretty free about, woo, I'm a conjuring witch. All right, well, my grandma was a Baptist prayer healer. My folks on that side came out of the primitive Baptist line. Little history here, completely off subject. All right, we were one of the few integrated churches in the early 1800s. All right, and my family has always been in the community, especially during the 1800s and into the early 1900s. We were poor Irish folk. That red hair that you see up here is natural, honey. But we were poor Irish folk. And so for me, I grew up in it. And then later on, I was blessed enough to work for a Haitian voodoo priest and could get involved, again, firsthand knowledge. Most of what's up in my head ain't stuff I read, okay? It's stuff that I learned from other practitioners. It's stuff I experienced where I'm like, ooh, let me tell you how not to do something, all right? Because I got firsthand experience on it. But reading books is not going to give you a spiritual experience. I say a lot of times, static knowledge, foundation knowledge, 20% in books, 80% in the community and experiences, in getting out there and doing it. And I know this is a lot subject, but I'm going to wind it back around because we're talking about opening up ourselves to having an experience with a deity, an entity, all right, whatever you're trying to connect to, all right? And it's not how many books can I read about it, okay? I read all these books, so I know, all right? And some of like those 1970s, this shelf right here is a collection of 1970s witchcraft books. They're not real good, just to let you know. But this is you doing it. I can't how much I can say this over and over. You set your altar up, you light your candle, you sit there, you meditate through the pillars. Nothing happened. Oh no, I must have done it wrong. No. What it means is you got to earn it. What it means is you got to keep working that altar, all right? Do you think you're just going to get it the first time? It don't work like that, honey. Okay? If anything, I've learned over the years, once is never enough. You may have to be sitting up in that altar for 6 months before you get a sign. Now I'm asking, are you ready to make that commitment? Or is this just a little passing fad? Okay? Because if it's a passing fad and you're going to move on to something else, let me tell you, deity knows. All right? They don't want to mess with you. They ain't going to mess with folks that are half contemplating, half assing it. Okay? You got to earn the right to have the experience. How do you get that experience? You do it every day. All right? When I get up in the morning, I stir my coffee 3 times. That's how I start my magical day. That's my big ritual. But I mindfully stir my coffee 3 times. I come back here, all right? I have several different altars, so I typically wander around my property and sort of rearrange, talk to, may spend time at one, another one may not need my attention that day, all right? All in all, I think it is a good 15 minutes out of my day, all right? Oh yeah, lots of time. People talk about, oh, it's a big ritual. I don't have time. Okay? Yeah, you do. When you go to take a shower, make it a mystical experience. Put the music on, light the incense, light the candle, put 2 glasses of water on each side of that door. 1 glass on each side. Water is a portal that we move through. When we've taken spiritual showers, we want to move through the essence of water to connect us back into spirit realm folk. All right? It's also an offering to spirit folk. There's a lot of different history on doing that. And I also know it feels better, just from my personal experience. So, you want to start a relationship with a god or a goddess, with an entity, a deity, all right? Set up a space and start spending time. And then start doing some research. And I mean for real research, not mass media, publication, real research. For instance, you want to know the goddess Inanna, beautiful goddess, Sumerian tablets, all of her stories. Go read them. Don't read somebody else who read the tablets. Yeah, because you don't put a filter on it, all right? You want to get up into Hecate. We have some amazing lore. Go read the actual lore. And you may have to learn how to read Old English. You may have to learn how to deal with translated copies, all right? And that's part of your journey. You're going to have to work for this experience. It's not going to get handed to you. And depending on which god or goddess that you want to feel like you're leaning in on, it could be years, all right? Typically, journeys with different deities is years, where you will work with them for 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 years. And for many, they become a true devotee, and it is a lifetime, all right? Others, it's a season. You may have a 5-year season with Hecate, all right? But to get to that 5-year season, you're going to have to put in the work. And it doesn't mean you read a book, you put a statue of Hecate in a corner of your room and watch it get dusty. That ain't it, sweetie. It's about telling her stories, knowing them, all right? Getting the humor of the stories, And I'm just like at this, because I've seen so many times where, I tried, but I just don't know. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You didn't actually put in that time and that effort. And like I said, and the reality of it is you didn't put in 15 minutes a day. Really. Okay? And not that there aren't other days I don't get lost in my altars and spend an hour or 2 or 3. But for the most part, 15 minutes to keep you connected. All right? Stir your coffee. Start your day with a mantra on your bathroom mirror. Keep your headspace. Stop by your altar. Rearrange it. You know? Touch the things. Talk to it. Sprinkle things on top of it. Burn some incense around it. All right? You know? Maybe write little notes to whoever you're trying to entice and put up on the altar. Maybe consider a food offering. All right, of course, food offering do dispose of typically only overnight, or as soon as you start to see a hard wilt, at that time the energy has been consumed from the food. Take it to a crossroads in an ideal witchy world. Typically compost piles the next alternative for us. Let throwing it away be your last option, but if you have to do it, you got to do it, witch. I know, tough choices. All right, I'm going to sit here and ramble on about this subject because I know how easy it is and how complex it is and how a lot of the information out there makes it really hard to figure it out. And I hope that didn't sound as mushy as I'm thinking it did, witch. But simply, Lucianne, spend some time with just an altar to everything, and then from there, see who starts leaning in on you, and then from there you can start personalizing the altar if you have a particular entity or deity. All right. Of course, if you are a new witch, welcome home. You're going to hear me say you're the next link in the generations. You are the ones that we pass it on to. All right? So please take notes. I wish I had when I was a young witch. And of course, I want you to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit all those other buttons YouTube wants you to hit. And if you are wanting to support me, the House of Witchcraft, we have a membership area where you will get a couple of videos each month that are exclusive to membership only. All right, and if you are wanting to know more about my world, my type of witchcraft, the tradition I'm involved in, please go to houseofwitchcraft.com, sign up for our newsletter. We have the 13 Moons to the Crossroads, an assisted self-guided journey for a year and a day witch. And with that said, y'all, you know I'm going to say it. I hope y'all have as bright of a blessed day as I'm having. And as always, amen, blessed be, ashe, and ebobo. We're getting ready to do Care to Win's feast. All right, it was July 3rd, but we have to do it this weekend. That's because real life witches and schedules and everything.